No! No! Self-custody. Don't use smart contracts now. I mean, we really are going back. We're going back like it's like this thing where it's like, well, maybe smart contracts were a terrible idea. It's like when, you know, the assistant manager is under threat of getting laid off. He's like, no, I don't do that. I actually do stuff, but they don't actually do shit. Like, that's what this is. And as the boomers fade out, I think we're starting to realize that middle management is BS. But this is, banks are middle management. And a couple other things that I thought I'd talk about today. I think it's a really interesting topic. I'll be covering it more on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed. But let's hop over to a little bit of tinfoil hat and some freaky stuff happening at the US Treasury, which is weighing a digital ID verification with DeFi to tackle illicit finance. You guys know I hate this kind of stuff, and I cover it to bring everybody's awareness to it. So start writing your congressman. But the U.S. Department of Treasury is seeking public feedback on how digital identity tools and other emerging technologies could be used to fight illicit finance in crypto markets, with one option being embedding identity checks into DeFi smart contracts. The consultation, published this week, stems from the newly enacted Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act, which is basically the Patriot Act for cryptocurrency at the end of the day. This has been a disaster for cryptocurrency, in my humble opinion. This has been the worst thing that's happened since Trump has become president. And it is basically just a massive invasion of privacy and a complete dismantling of the principles of cryptocurrency. That's my opinion. And, you know, I feel a little tricked and a little lied to over this whole thing. Maybe some of y'all share that frustration with me, but I've not been happy with this administration's direction when it comes to this stuff, because part of it sounds good, right? We've lightened the regulation, which I think needs to happen. So that part's good. But then you get into it and it's like, well, we're going to leverage this, this, and this, and we're turning into basically a surveillance state. And we are starting to realize that we're getting a lot of surveillance state type legislation snuck in along with all of this legislation surrounding cryptocurrency. This is just evidence to that fact, right? So the act, which sets out a regulatory framework for payment stablecoin issuers, directs the Treasury to explore new compliance technologies, including application programming interfaces, artificial intelligence, digital identity verification, and blockchain monitoring. One of the ideas in the request for comment is the potential for DeFi protocols to integrate digital identity credentials directly into their code. Under this model, a smart contract could automatically verify a user's credential before executing a transaction, effectively building KYC and AML safeguards into blockchain infrastructure. No! No! Self-custody. Don't use smart contracts now. I mean, we really are going back. We're going back like it's like this thing where it's like, well, maybe smart contracts were a terrible idea. According to Treasury Digital Identity Solutions, which may include government IDs, biometrics, or portable credentials, could reduce compliance costs while strengthening privacy protections. They could also make it easier for financial institutions and DeFi services to detect money laundering, terrorist financing, and or sanction evasions before transactions occur. So obviously I'm going to I'll always harp on the same thing. They will utilize fear to strip every single right from you that they can possibly strip away from you. Every single God-given right, well, they don't believe in God anymore, and that's part of the problem, but every single God-given right that you have, that we've enjoyed, they will continue to utilize fear to strip it away from you. Public comments are open until October 17th, so 2025. So I definitely recommend putting in your public comments right now on this in particular. Last week, several major U.S. banking groups led by the Bank Policy Institute and this was supposed to be the void of banks and governments, and this is all it's turning into. It's crazy, but it went from get rid of banks and get rid of government participation within the economy via cryptocurrency into basically a tool in which is best used to invade your privacy and take control of the economy. Like, that's effectively what happened, right? Okay, so they urged Congress to tighten rules under the Genius Act, warning that loophole could let stablecoin issuers bypass restrictions on paying interest. In a letter Tuesday, BPI said the gap could allow issuers to partner with exchanges or affiliates to offer yields, undermining the intent of the law. The group cautioned that unchecked growth of yield-bearing stablecoins could trigger up to $6.6 trillion in deposit outflows from traditional banks, threatening credit access for businesses. No, you know what it threatens? It threatens the viability and the need for a bank. This is like when, the assistant manager is under threat of getting laid off. He's like, no, I don't do that. I actually do stuff, but they don't actually do shit. Like, that's what this is. And as the boomers fade out, I think we're starting to realize that middle management is BS. But banks are middle management of the economy. And we don't need them. Rant over. All right. Get off Windows. Ignore this. I was playing Fortnite with my kiddo. Okay. But there are ways to do this. We can talk about it. Get off Windows, boys. They're destroying your SSD. Windows 11 latest security update is reporting causing several SSD failures when writing a large number of files at once. It is now reported that the latest Windows 11 update is causing SSDs to become non-functional after a large data write, and it seems to have affected several drives. Well, Microsoft's updates with their OS have brought in new problems for PC gamers several times in the past, and it seems like your SSDs might not be safe this time. In a deep dive by an ex-user, it is revealed that after KB 5063878, make sure you don't update to that, pause your updates right now, security update on Windows 11 that dropped a few days ago, storage drives reportedly malfunction with large files or when large files are being written to them at once. The user himself spotted the trouble when he was updating Cyberpunk 2077 with the new security code. Before we dive into the specifics of the report, it is essential to note that these details have emerged from the internal testing and benchmarking, and neither SSD manufacturers nor Microsoft have verified the SSD failure issue. Yeah, they'll try to ignore as long as they can. It is claimed that problems within the SSDs could appear if there's approximately 50 gigabytes of continuous writing, and there are similar issues within HDDs as well. Hence, this isn't just a specific thing to one storage drive. Right now, the verified drives that have failed are Corsair Force MP600s, Phison PS5 5012-E12 controller equipped SSDs, Kioxa Xeria Plus G4s, FICWAT FN955s, and ScanDisk Extreme Pro M.2 NVMe 3D SSDs. For now, the issue isn't widespread, and it hasn't been reported across public forums, but the security update might have something to do with SSDs failing to perform after the data writes. Our best reasoning for this problem is likely from a storage driver or kernel level regression that came with the update, which mishandles long sequential writes, ultimately leading to controller lockup, which makes the drive disappear and is not recognizable by the OS. We are gathering more updates, and that's what they go on to say. Now, like I said, a big way that you can go ahead and solve this is you can pop into Windows updates in your settings, pause updates for now. You can also roll back drivers, and you can Google how to do all this. So my recommendation to avoid this right now, if you're running a Windows machine and an NVMe that's extremely expensive and you don't want to buy another one, just to be safe, go in and pause your updates. And if you have already gotten this particular KB, go ahead and pop in and roll back that driver real quick, especially before you do a big game update or something along those lines, or in case you're about to plot some new drives or something, which I don't know why anybody would plot new drives with with Windows anymore, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.